Good morning, Elmira Baptist Church. I'm meeting with you again. I'm outside. Beautiful day here in California. But right now about 65 degrees, late morning. For those of you that do Celsius, I have no idea. I used to know these things. But I'm glad to be with you again today. We had a fantastic day yesterday, celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ from the dead. He is alive. Amen to that. The quote for today is, "Life will break you unless you learn the habit of leaning on Jesus. Do not be afraid to lean too much." Let me read that to you again. Life will break you unless you learn the habit of leaning on Jesus. Do not be afraid to lean too much. That was C.H. Spurgeon. Today is your daily Elmira Baptist Church update for Monday, April 13th, 2020. And again, I want to say thank you to all of you who invited people to join you in your home or at a watch party, and for watching yesterday. Hope to have some numbers to you later on this week. My Alexa device has started to get sarcastic on me. I said to her today, what's the temperature today? And she said, "Why do you care? You can't go outside." So I'm wondering if the government has started to program our Amazon devices. Let me know if you have similar issues with yours. Some prayer requests today. Keep praying for Don Blood. He's still in the hospital as far as I know. He has a serious infection. It's not the coronavirus, and they're trying to treat it with antibiotics. Once they see how he responds to these antibiotics, they'll make a decision whether to send him home, that is, send him to be with his daughter, or whether they will send him to a rehabilitation center. So he's not out of the woods yet. Please continue to pray for him. And pray for the seeds that were planted yesterday. Perhaps it is that more Americans heard the gospel on one day than has happened in a long time, because we certainly had a lot of people tuned in to the live stream, folks who wouldn't normally go to church. So pray for the seeds of the gospel that were planted yesterday, and pray for our first responders and those who work in medicine, nurses, doctors, just a lot of people who are under an incredible amount of stress and pressure right now. I won't go into all the details, but I've talked to some, and just pray for them if you would. By the way, I'm rotating some of these requests. That is, I'll mention some tomorrow that I mentioned last week, just to keep them before us. Today's Bible lesson is from Psalm 56, verses 3 and 4. "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." That's verse 3. Verse 4, "In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me." Notice those verses go together. "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." And then, "In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust." When Carissa was little, just a baby, we would teach her this verse because she didn't like sleeping by herself in her room. And so we would teach her this verse, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." We'd say it to her. And of course, "What time I am afraid," okay, maybe she doesn't understand that. She was little, so we would paraphrase that for her as, that means scared. When you're scared, you can trust in God. And so we would say to her, don't forget Psalm 53:6, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee." And she'd come back in her cute little toddler voice, "That means scared." And that's exactly what it means. When you're scared, you can trust in the Lord. You see, fear says, "What happens if?" But faith says, God is in control. Fear says, "You won't make it." Faith says, "My times are in God's hands." Fear says, "Look at all the others who have tried and failed." Faith says, "Look at where God is leading." Fear says, "Don't even bother. It won't matter." Faith says, "Your labor is not in vain in the Lord." Fear says, "Something bad might happen." Faith says, "God will use difficulties to conform me to the image of his Son." Fear says, "What will people think?" Faith says, "What will God think?" So, "What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In God I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust." Don't be led by fear. Be led by faith. Remember, God is at work. We'll meet again tomorrow when I will give you some tips for surviving at home. Until then.